Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It seems to be the end of an era this week with the news of Paul Harrell's passing and the news that Polymer80 has, in fact, closed its doors. It is a sad week indeed. Now, I had heard rumor of Polymer80 closing last week, but it was only being reported by The Trace at the time, so I wanted to wait until more information came out, not wanting to trust the fact that the news was coming just from a biased outlet celebrating the demise of a gun kit company. Unfortunately, at this point, I can say that it is in fact true. Now, before I get into the details here, this video will be a quickie, so we will jump right into the fact that today's video is brought to you by Blackout Coffee Company, your pro-Second Amendment roaster who donates to some of your favorite gun rights groups directly every time you purchase one of their partner roasts. And as it is now September, it is officially spooky season, which means pumpkin spice is back, baby! Now, I know a lot of y'all are too manly for the pumpkin spice, but your wives are not. I've actually had pumpkin spice in my cup every day this week, but I also buy it in bulk every fall. So anyway, to help support this channel and get a cup of coffee, tea, or hot chocolate that you can be proud of, go to blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. There had been suspicion for a while that this might happen, as it was certainly the goal of all of the various lawsuits that were aimed at the company over the last few years, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. Just in the last 2 years alone, Polymer80 reached $7.5 million settlements with LA, Baltimore, and Philadelphia that also required them to stop selling its products in California, Maryland, and parts of Pennsylvania. A DC court also imposed more than $4 million in penalties and required Polymer80 to stop selling there as well. We also know that New York was involved in some lawsuits and that some of the legal proceedings required Polymer80 to hand over customer data, to a lot of controversy at the time. So basically, the company has had a target on its back for a while now, and in a lot of different places. Polymer80 CEO Lauren Kelly Jr. recently posted to social media, "In order to be able to stop hemorrhaging, we had to shut down and get some things in order." P80 was getting sued left and right, probably twice a month. And that about sums it up. Now, all of these lawsuits claimed that Polymer80 was purposefully peddling gun violence by selling illegal kits that were being found at crime scenes. Also, there were some lawsuits that accused them of false advertising by not telling people their product was illegal, even though it never really was. Now, we all know that these accusations are not quite what happened in practice, as that's the argument that a lot of gun controllers make against parts kits, and now even Glock, Smith & Wesson, etc. Thank you, Mexico. It's the pop accusation du jour. So it's nothing new here. Groups also claim that P80 kits have become the #1 gun used by criminal elements because you can get the kits without a background check. They actually say that a lot of guns they don't like are the #1 choice of criminals. In reality, it's not very often that we hear about crimes committed with a firearm that can be traced back to a P80 kit, but okay. As per the Giffords legal director who represented Philadelphia in its lawsuit against the company, their customer base are people who don't want to pass a background check, who don't want a record of the sale, who don't want a serial number. An enormous share of their customers are gun traffickers or people who are otherwise not legally allowed to purchase a gun. I highly doubt the veracity of the gun trafficker claim. People that aren't legally allowed to use firearms otherwise, well, maybe. You might note that some of these states, or most of the places that have been suing Polymer80, are places that tried to make all guns illegal. Funny how that works with banning things and black markets. Honestly, as far as the criminal element goes, I think those guys are more likely to buy a Glock with a serial shaved off from somebody's trunk, or use any number of cheap, crappy stolen guns, which studies have proven true. Like, for example, that gang taking over apartments down in Colorado isn't ordering P80 kits and putting them together in their garages with gunsmithing tools. They are too busy cracking skulls and robbing stores. Buying a P80 kit and waiting for it to ship to your door and having the gunsmithing tools and whatever to put it together is not exactly efficient if you are a bloodthirsty gang member. I mean, I don't know, maybe some of them have gunsmithing hobbies, but I seriously doubt it. Building firearms has been an American tradition since its very founding and is what helped us get through the Revolutionary War, which is one of the exact reasons why the government doesn't like them. And with the ATF frame and receiver rule, that definitely did not help Polymer80's business operations. Of course, by design. All that being said, while the website is down, doors are closed, emails seem to go nowhere, and the phones are disconnected, Kelly says that the closure might not be permanent. He points to the frame and receiver rule being scheduled to go in front of the Supreme Court on October 8th and says that whatever they decide could jeopardize the state restrictions being used to come after the company. He said in the social media post that P80 has to revisit how they participate in the market and that he has some things in the works that need to be cleared up, which is mysterious and certainly doesn't sound like a total ending. He also suggested that the post was purposefully vague to avoid feeding into the company's enemies, and well, you know, of course, it was plastered all over the trace. So he's not wrong that they are being watched by the gun control bad guys. Now, the gun controllers over at the Trace, blue governments, Everytown, and Giffords are, of course, celebrating this week as a big victory towards illegal firearm ownership and usage. That phrase says a lot. Like I said, this was their goal all along. As the legal director for Everytown told The Trace, the effort to address the illegal use of ghost guns was a combination of litigation, a push for rulemaking by the ATF, and states and cities passing laws cracking down on ghost gun sales. That led to first a shrinking of the market, then with the ATF a shutting down of the market. So, of course, saying the quiet part out loud because it's not really that quiet anymore. The Trace claims that in LA alone, police seized 4,200 Polymer80 guns from criminals between January 2020 and February 2023, but don't link any sort of source to back up that data. Even if it is true, to me, that says that LA has a crime problem over a gun problem. That is it for this video, guys. Sad news today, all around, unfortunately. You guys know the drill for all of the algorithm things. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring the notification bell and drop a comment to help out the algorithm. And as always, folks, thanks for tuning in and happy shooting.